Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Oyi Agmofwebe. President Bola Tinubu has banned ministers, heads of agencies, and other government officials from embarking on public-funded foreign trips. The ban will last for 3 months in the first instance and will take effect on April 1, 2024. This was contained in a letter dated March 12, 2024 and signed by Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and addressed to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. In January, President Tinubu had issued an order to reduce the number of people accompanying him on both local and foreign trips, noting that his delegation members should not exceed 25 for local travels and 20 for international trips. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has appealed to members of the National Assembly to exercise restraint in summoning heads of ministries, departments, and agencies before parliamentary committees. The president made the appeal while speaking at the breaking of the Ramadan fast in Abuja alongside Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, and the leadership of the House. The president noted that while oversight is essential for maintaining transparency and accountability in governance, excessive summoning of officials can disrupt operations and hinder service delivery to citizens. He therefore urged lawmakers to, in the exercise of their oversight functions, discretion. President Bola Tinubu has approved what he calls a befitting burial for the 17 soldiers who were killed while on a peacekeeping mission in Delta State last week. This was as he approved the conferment of posthumous national honors on the slain soldiers. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajaero Ngelale, disclosed this in a statement. The president, while expressing his heartfelt condolences to the families of the bereaved, pledged that the sacrifices of the fallen heroes would never be in vain. The House of Representatives has passed a bill that was sent to it by President Bola Tinubu for the upward review of salaries, allowances, and fringe benefits for judicial officers nationwide for the third reading. Based on the provisions of the bill, judges are to get over 800% pay rise, as the Chief Justice of Nigeria is to earn 64.6 million naira annual basic salary and allowances far higher than what obtains currently. Other justices of the Supreme Court are to earn annual basic salaries and regular allowances of over 60 million naira annually. The development received the backing of the various senior advocates of Nigeria, as they insisted that well-remunerated judicial officers would be less susceptible to corruption. The Senate Joint Committee on Defense, Army, Navy, and Air Force has held a closed-door meeting with the service chiefs over the recent killing of 17 officers and troops of the Nigerian Army in Okoma Community, Bomadi local government area of Delta State. It was also gathered that troops intensified the manhunt for the killers of the military men. The 4 military officers and 13 soldiers were said to have gone to Okoma Community on a peacekeeping mission when they were slain by hoodlums last week. The Senate had, during its plenary, mandated the Joint Committee to investigate the killing of the military men. In a bid to create introspective analysis of the National Land Transportation Policy, the Federal Ministry of Transportation, under the leadership of Senator Said Ahmed Alkali, has held the Draft National Land Transportation Policy Validation Forum in Abuja. The minister said the Draft National Policy Land Transportation (NLTP) provides a comprehensive assessment of current challenges and processes, proposes strategic responses to enhance the sector, incorporating key considerations such as climate change, capacity building, and inclusive transportation. Global TV's Fozia Lukman now brings us details.
As transport is an important factor in the economic and social development of any nation, where different modes of transport have their specific characteristics, the Minister of Transportation says the policy is geared towards addressing challenges associated with the land transport sector, comprising rail, road, and pipeline. He described the road sector as the weakest but the major burden bearer in the sector. adding that there is an urgent need to develop a policy stating that the land mode is the major linkage to social, regional, national, and international markets.
I must emphasize that the National Land Transport Policy will not in any way deter the finalization of the national policy, but it aims to develop a vibrant transportation system that will reduce congestion, improve connectivity in both rural and urban areas, and foster a sustainable and inclusive transportation system.
The minister also assures that the policy would develop a vibrant land transportation system that would reduce congestion, improve connectivity in both urban and rural areas, and foster a sustainable and inclusive transportation system. He added that the success of the policy would be a win-win for everyone, as it represents the voices of the communities, businesses, civil society organizations, and the general public.
Permit me to emphasize the success of this policy is a win-win for all of us, as we are all represent the voices of communities, business, civil society organizations, and the general public. Let us give all to validate a document that will stand the test of time.
Speaking on the key factor in formulating the policy, stakeholders in the transport sector emphasized on the three policy imperatives to respond to so as to minimize relying on fossil fuels.
How do we make better use of the resources that we have? We have to be more efficient in planning. We have to be more efficient in allocative decisions. And we have to be more efficient in terms of selecting what we do and what we don't. The policy takes note of this, i.e. that we do not and cannot continue to rely on fossil fuel for the various reasons that we're all aware of, and therefore we need to change and begin to see how we can transit.
The goal is to develop a diversified and sustainable transportation energy mix. This is a reflection of the current government disposition to discourage the use of fossil fuel and encourage the use of compressed natural gas. Capacity building, knowledge generation and management.
Land transportation has the potential to boost other areas such as agriculture, commerce, tourism, industry, education, and blue economy, among others. Minister of Transportation added that the policy will be ready in 2 weeks and presented to the Federal Executive Council, FEC, for approval. Fauzia Lukman, Global TV News.
Thank you, Fauzia. A detective with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mahmoud Tukur, has denied promising the former Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, leniency in exchange for indicting the former Minister of Finance and others. The former Accountant General of the Federation had told the Federal Capital Territory High Court on February 1, 2024, that the EFCC deceived him to admit to the allegations against him. The ex-AGF specifically claimed that the EFCC told him they wanted to use him to get to the Minister of Finance and some governors to receive derivation funds. Idris and his co-defendants are standing trial on 14 charges of stealing and criminal breach of trust to the tune of 109.5 billion naira. Let's take a look at some legislative matters now. The House of Representatives has called on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to stick to its resolution and lift the ban on sachet alcoholic beverages and PET bottles. The chairman, House Committee on NAFDAC, Regina Akume, gave the charge at a news conference in Abuja. The House had on March 14, 2024, asked NAFDAC to lift the ban on the production of alcohol in sachets and PET bottles of less than 200 milliliters. The resolution by the House followed agitation and protest by distillers who said the ban would throw 500,000 workers out of jobs and ruin 800 billion naira investments. You're watching Midday News coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using at Global TV G and other handles as you now see on your screen. When Midday News returns, Adelabu says private firm withheld federal government's 32 billion naira meter fund for 20 years. We have details of this and more stories for you right after this short break. Do stay with us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the Midday News with Uyi Agumofwewe. Thank you so very much for staying with us. Let's take you to the foreign scene now, where Britain's annual inflation rate fell more than expected in February. Official data showed fueling speculation that the Bank of England will cut interest rates this year. Inflation reached 3.4% last month, the lowest level since September 2021, after hitting 4.0% in January, according to the Office for National Statistics. The consensus had been for consumer prices to rise by 3.5% in February, according to a Bloomberg survey. Inflation remains well above the Bank of England's 2% target. A South African bank says that a court had ordered a halt to outgoing payments from ex-President Jacob Zuma's accounts in a dispute over loans for improvements to his private home while in power. The First National Bank said the measure was the result of legal action taken by the liquidators of another bank, which is owned by the 81-year-old politician. The measure is likely to further taint the reputation of graft-accused Zuma ahead of general elections on May 29. In power from 2009 to 2018, Zuma is fronting a small startup party that is threatening to take away key votes from his old home, the African National Congress, ANC. Let's follow the money for you in business. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has presented the FCT 2024 statutory budget proposal of 1.147 trillion naira to both the Senate and House of Representatives committees on FCT. Making the presentation before the Senate committees, the FCT minister disclosed that the budget revenue sources will be made up of internally generated revenue, IGR, Infrastructure Support Fund, among others. Kikelamo Okere brings us more.
The Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, noted that the total sum of fiscal framework comprises of proposed distributable revenue of over 510.3 billion naira and non-distributable revenue of 637,416 billion naira.
We have a fiscal framework of sum of 1,147,180,610,283 naira, comprising distributable revenue of 510.3 billion and non-distributable revenue of 637.4 billion.
Wike, giving highlights of the FCT appropriation bill, says 280 billion naira is earmarked for overhead, 726 billion naira for capital projects, and 140 billion naira for personnel, bringing the total budget to 1.147 trillion naira. He further highlighted some of the projects to be executed from 2024 FCT's statutory budget proposal,
which is being proposed for the FCT 2024 statutory budget after due deliberations with all the revenue generating agencies of the FCT, also taking into consideration the parameters highlighted in paragraph 8 above. Now, when you compare the revised 2023 appropriation of the sum of 641 billion, there's an increase of the sum of 506 billion, which is 44%. In the 2024 statutory budget proposal. The increase is as a result of the expected loan from the commercial bank since we have exited frontiers in the sum of 500 billion.
Presenting the budget before the House of Representatives Committee on FCT, Wike listed some of the critical projects to be executed by FCT administration in 2024 statutory budget proposal to include completion of roads B6, B12, construction of access road and car park for Abuja, light rail Dede, Gwagwa Station, Lot 5, full scope of development of area road from Northway Park to other Northern Express. He also said there will be provision of engineering infrastructure to Guzapi, provision of engineering infrastructure to Wuye District, extension of Inner Southern Express from Southern Way Park to Ring Road, full scope development of FCT Highway, among others.
It's important to note that the FCT statutory budget is mainly funded from the 1%, from the proceeds of the 1% of the 52.6% of the statutory allocation of the federal government that comes from the federation account, and also internally generated revenue and other sources as contained in the revenue fiscal framework.
Chairman of the House Committee on FCT, Honorable Aliu Betara, and other members of his committee assured the administration of their unwavering support, charging him to look at revenue generation and Area Council IGR. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has explained how a private company reportedly held on to 32 billion naira paid into its account in 2003 for the supply of 3 million prepaid meters. According to a statement by the Minister's Special Advisor, Strategic Communications and Media Relations, Bolaji Tunji, the federal government had entered a tripartite agreement with Messrs. Z-Classes Network Limited and Unistar International in 2003 for the supply of 3 million meters to distribution companies in the country within 3 years. The statement indicated that to kickstart the project, a revolving metering loan of 32 billion naira was released to Messrs. Z-Classes. The House of Representatives has passed a bill for an act for upward review of the salaries, allowances, and fringe benefits of judicial office holders in the country, with a total monthly package of 5.3 million naira for the Chief Justice of Nigeria. In the executive bill submitted through the Green Chamber by President Bola Tinubu, the justices of the Supreme Court are to earn a total package of 4.21 million naira, while the President of the Court of Appeal is to earn a total monthly package of 4.48 million naira. Similarly, justices of the Court of Appeal are to earn a total monthly package of 3.73 million naira, while the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, President of the National Industrial Court, Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, and Grand Qadi, FCT Sharia Court of Appeal, President of Customary Court of Appeal, Chief Judge, State High Courts, and Grand Qadi of State Sharia Court of Appeal, as well as President of State Customary Court of Appeal, will earn a total monthly package of 3.53 million naira each. The monthly package comprises basic salaries and all regular allowances, including car fueling and maintenance, personal assistance, hardship, entertainment, utilities, security, outfit, journal subscription, medicals, service allowances, restricted or forced lifestyle, dual responsibility, and legal researches. The organized private sector has kicked against the lifting of the foreign exchange restrictions on the Central Bank of Nigeria placed on the importation of milk and dairy products, warning that it could result in the decline of local production within the country. National President, Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, Dele Oye, expressed concerns regarding the potential ramifications of the suspension of the restriction, particularly against the backdrop of the Naira's current depreciation and the inconsistencies observed in customs duty payment. The depreciation of the Naira has already placed a significant burden on importers, with the increased costs of foreign exchange reflecting on the final prices of goods and services. The recent policy shift, while potentially increasing competition and broadening market access, could also exacerbate this burden, leading to higher retail prices for milk and dairy products, ultimately affecting the end consumers. The federal government says it would provide student hostels in 36 tertiary institutions across the country. This is as the government has indicated its willingness to construct more hostels once these first sets are completed. The Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Sonny Echono, stated this when he hosted the new leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Students, led by its president, Lucky Emonefe, according to a statement by the fund on Wednesday in Abuja. In the statement, the TED Fund's Director of Public Affairs, Abdulmumin Onigayi, quoted Echono as pointing out that there is increased allocation for maintenance of TED Fund infrastructures above 5 years in the 2024 intervention cycle. The federal government says it has uncovered the identity of 15 entities, including 9 individuals and 6 bureau de change operators and firms allegedly involved in terrorism financing. Details of the development were revealed by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, in an email sent to reporters entitled Designation of Individuals and Entities for March 18, 2024. The document revealed that the Nigerian Sanctions Committee met on March 18, 2024, where specific individuals and entities were recommended for sanction following their involvement in terrorism financing. Among the individuals named in the document was a Kaduna-based publisher, Tukaram Mamu, who is currently being tried by the federal government for allegedly aiding the terrorists who attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train in March 2022. The Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, has championed an authorized economic operators AEO program to enhance the efficiency and predictability of trade facilitation efforts in the country. The Controller General of the service, Adewale Adeniyi, during a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, said the program will foster collaboration between the Nigeria Customs Service, other government agencies, and experts to boost AEO programs. Kikelamo Okeri has more. We'll bring you details of that story subsequently. Let's turn to other stories now. The House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of Health, Mohammed Pate, and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry to appear before it or face sanctions on the law. Sharon Ajay has the story. Okay, it turns out we'll bring you all of those details in the course of our 3 p.m. news. In the meantime, this is where we draw the curtain on the midday news. I'm Muyi Agumofwegwe. Thank you so very much for watching. Up next is Lunch Global with Chung and Joseph.